OxFit Podcast, episode 29?
29?
29?
29?
Nobody's going to get that.
No, it's from New Girl. Everyone gets that.
Ant's not going to get it.
If you don't get a Schmidt quote.
I'm telling you right now, he won't know what that is, but
That's sad.
that's all right. All right, Whit is back.
What's up?
Still feel a little bit loud. All right. Coach Whitney, Grant Park regular these days.
Heck yeah.
If you work out at Grant Park, you know her. How long has it been?
It has been 9 months, I think. July 2024. I started the week after my birthday, July 1st. Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, Aunt and Lauren were just about to leave for like a whole month.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just started,
that's right. Yep.
And then they left, and then it was just me and you. And
Just
then I think we
hanging
did a podcast while they were gone.
Yep, we did.
Which, yeah, it was cool to go back and like watch or listen to that again. But yeah, I feel like everybody's obviously really gotten to know you over the past 9 months.
Yeah, it's flown by. Like, it's hard to believe that I've been here 9 months and so much has changed and just evolved, and it's been such a cool place to be a part of, and everyone's been just everything that I hoped, and it's been an amazing experience so far for sure.
Yeah, I love that. We really enjoyed like having you jump into all the training sessions. I know the athletes love having you in class to coach them and work out with them. But yeah, you've done a lot of working out in your life. So
A whole lot.
how's the last 9 months been compared to a whole lifetime of functional fitness and volleyball and whatever else you got into?
Yeah, I've been very lucky in that I've been in a gym at some point since I was probably 12 or 13 years old. But since being here, seeing being a part of like cycles and like intentional cycles and such like meaningful progressive programming, the gains that I've made as an athlete have been so hard earned and something like improvements that I've been so proud of. Because at some point I felt like prior to being here, I had hit maybe not necessarily a plateau in my fitness, but I kind of just like knew where my fitness was at. And I was like, okay, I'm 34. Like, this is probably the peak of my fitness, and I'm okay with it being that. And since starting cycles here and training with you all and having just a different style and approach to programming, I've seen so many more gains that I otherwise didn't expect to have before being here. You know, I've become stronger. I've become fitter and faster, more confident in like gymnastics and strict strength, things that have always been really, really difficult for me. They're not becoming easier, but I am building my confidence now in a way that I didn't think I was going to be able to before I got here.
Yeah. I think it was really cool to see you come in and like you being an athlete that was kind of like objectively or obviously like more advanced in a lot of different areas. And then there were some things we were a lot better at, some things you were a lot better at, but there was like no animosity about that. It was just like, okay, you got to teach me how to do that. It's like, okay, well, you got to watch me squat because I want to squat like you. And I feel like we've all become better just by being around each other, and we're going to keep getting better because we do all have such different, strengths, and we don't let each other fall into that like, well, I just lift, I don't do any of that other stuff. It's like, no. Like,
you're going to come in and you're going to do all the things.
And you're going to go run a 2K at Georgia Tech on this Saturday, and then
do a powerlifting meet the week before. And
a month before that, you did an Olympic lifting competition.
Literally, yeah, for sure. And it's like, I think it's what I loved so much. And I think, honestly, it pulled me out of that mindset before, or once I came here, like just having this willingness to be at the beginning of something and being okay with being at the beginning of something, like getting smoked by y'all in these like longer endurance effort workouts, and then the coin flips, and like I'm lifting heavier than you all, but like we all still just want to work together and get better from each other. And I think being a part of a team in that sense and having the camaraderie that we all have and the accountability that we all have with each other has pushed me in a way that in my previous training and in my previous like training sessions in different places, I wouldn't have been able to get to the point where I'm at right now if I was training the way that I had been before.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally get that. I really like what you said, like being okay with being at the beginning of something.
Yeah.
Or just like, and I think that's the reason why we really love the cycles and like the way we do the programming, because every 8 weeks you get to like start over in a sense, but you didn't lose everything you had worked on, but you're just presented with like new challenges. So I feel like you're just constantly being stimulated by new things and new failures and forcing
Absolutely.
yourself to have to try something in a different way. You know, I think there's going to be a big shift. Like a lot of people got really good at kipping pull-ups and all these like kipping movements. Well, now we're going to have to do them strict. And I know for me, that's going to be a big flip because I'm pretty consistently on Wodify, top of the leaderboard for those kipping pull-ups, but those strict pull-ups, like that's a huge weakness for me. So I'm going to be, you know, fighting for every single rep, which is exciting because it's a new challenge and it's a new, you know, thing that I need to work on. And I know a lot of people can get better in that area too.
Yeah, it's always, and I think that's so important. It's like to find new and exciting ways to express your fitness and to express the work that you put in. Like, and I think that's what I love about the cycles. Like they're always so different. There's a different focus. There's a different priority. The workouts are continuously different. You're never going to see the same workout twice. And it allows you to, as an athlete, find new and challenging joy in coming to the gym and spending 60 minutes in class. Like we're going to do strict pull-ups today. The next day we're going to do like dumbbell floor presses. Like there's always something new and fresh, and it allows you to look at your body and look at the things that your body can do in really new and inspiring ways to kind of carry you through whatever we're working on.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also like, it's such a quick turnover that it's a nice like reset and like a new chance to ask yourself like, okay, like I did this all last cycle and I bombed retest week, which is totally fine because any feedback is good feedback. 100%. So you got some feedback that whatever you did that last cycle wasn't working, or whatever you did at the last gym you were at, even though you went there every single day and you worked hard, like it wasn't working. Yeah. So instead of looking at that as a failure, just looking at it as a chance to like try something different.
100%. And it's a time and 8 weeks is like just a perfect amount of time. Like it keeps it fresh. You don't feel like you're slogging through like 3 months, like a 12-week can feel daunting. 8 weeks is just enough to where at the end of it, you can look back and regardless of what your data did, whether it improved or it stayed neutral or it maybe fell off and you didn't do as well in baseline week, you can look back at your habits over the last 8 weeks and be like, okay, like how many times was I coming to the gym? Like, what were the things that were going on in my life outside of the gym over the last 8 weeks? You know, like it allows you a really intentional, finite amount of time to assess like what went down, and the results of what went down show up on your scorecard, regardless of what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can have a lot of variables stay exactly the same, but you might not be paying attention to the right ones. So, yeah, I mean, Ant and I talk about habits a lot, or we have been. We just finished Atomic Habits, and before that, beginning of the year, we finished out Growth Mindset, but both like really books that really connect well with each other. But do you have any newly found habits or like things that are like set in stone for you that like these things work for me and like this is what I do every day, like without fail?
Yeah. I mean, the things, I wish I was better at this habit. And when I do it, like my brain feels so much better. When I make a to-do list of even the most mindless things like Whitney, eat your lunch, and I can check it off, like having a list and taking it out of my brain and putting it onto paper, and that dopamine hit of crossing it off,
that's real.
I
love a list.
God, and I love checking off a list.
Yeah.
Like it's so nice. Having that is such a good habit for me.
Okay.
Like, between juggling like my husband's job, Murphy being in school, being here at the gym, training, the things that bring me joy and health and wellness, all of those things, like if I write it out, I will get it all done. If I don't write it down, it gets a little sketchy. The non-negotiable habit that I have that I really like, and this is probably a weird one, but I will wait. Like I'll wake up in the morning and I will wait probably like 2 hours before I have caffeine.
Okay.
Like I found that I feel so much less like jittery and like jacked up, and like I feel much more like even keeled and level headed when I wait maybe like 90 to 120 minutes before I start railing caffeine through my body. But then I have a hard stop too. Like we'll ignore the matcha that I have right now because I am breaking one of my own rules, but I try my hardest to stop having caffeine by like 12 o'clock, like regardless of how tired I might be or how late I may be up in the evening. It's like hard stop at 12. Although I do allow myself a little bit of flexibility sometimes, but those are some good habits for me, that simple small habits that work for me really, really well.
Yeah, I think that's been the common one, and just like structuring the times you do have control over. So like, and I think a good first step for people, it would be looking at, you know, the first 30 minutes after you wake up, and then looking at, you know, the 15 minutes that kind of hug your gym time. So like before class and after class, like what are you doing? And I think last podcast I made an example of like, if coming to the gym every day has been your goal and you're consistently hitting it, like instead of just adding on like a random new task, it's like, well, at 8 o'clock at night, I'm going to stretch. And no, you're not. Because I've said that and I don't.
No,
you're not. But
it's not going to happen.
If you say, I'm going to get to the gym 10 minutes early and stretch, that's more manageable. You're going to come to the gym anyway. You just have to look at the clock a little sooner and leave.
100%.
So yeah, it's finding things that work for you. And I think, especially in this day and age when we have so much like things online of seeing, like the biggest trend is like a full day of eating with me, blah, blah, blah athlete, or get ready with me, da, da, da. And it's like,
get ready with me for a regular day of training, going to work.
Right.
And blah, blah, blah.
And they consumed, you know, $500 worth of supplements before 8 a.m. that they did not pay for. They got sent
Someone
to them.
sent it to them, yeah.
And they, you know what I mean? Like it's all this crazy stuff, but it's like, it doesn't have to be that hard to start.
Yeah.
And we get so pressured into thinking that like, well, I don't have a cold plunge to hop into exactly 15 minutes after I finish a workout and a like bucket of carbs to drink while I'm in there and like all this stuff.
Yeah. And what frustrates me so much is that it makes building your best life seem so unattainable.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have hundreds upon thousands of dollars to buy supplements, buy a cold plunge, and do all these like biohack crazy things. Like start with what you're already doing really well and then fold something small on top of it. Like you're saying with like the 15 minutes before and after you're going to the gym. You're going to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. Fantastic. Do you want to get better at, are your hips tight as shit? It's probably because you don't stretch. But like you said, you're not going to stretch at 8 o'clock at night. I mean, kudos to you if you do. You're a better human than I am. But like when you give someone the opportunity, just like, hey, like, why don't you just come in like 5 minutes early and just sit in a pigeon for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Like that's so much more digestible and obtainable for someone. We all have so much going on. Like it's unrealistic to ask someone like, well, you know, the best thing for you to do is to find another hour of your day to go to a deep stretch yin yoga class that you also have to pay money for, X, Y, Z, and all those things. It's like, nah, man, just give me 5 minutes.
Make it easier for yourself.
100%. And you can do that with anything. Like, are you trying to get better at strict pull-ups, or are you trying to eat more vegetables? Like, let's just find a small window on the back or front end of something that you're already doing really well.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the thinking behind like the pull-up and push-up challenges too. It's like, it doesn't have to be as complicated as you think it is. It's just taking 2 or 3 minutes to practice something.
Yeah.
So it's written on the whiteboard in the gym. You come here anyway. We give you 10 minutes of free time basically to warm up. Do your push-ups, and then you get better at push-ups.
We've created time for you
Right.
to do it. Are you at home and are you just staring blindly out the window while your coffee brews into a pot? You know what you can do in those 3 minutes? 8 push-ups.
8 push-ups.
And then you can check it off your list.
That you wrote down.
The
night before to make
Get
you
the
feel
dopamine
better.
hit and keep going. It's going to be great.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's, as I look at a list right now of things.
I'm the same way. I put list on my calendar so that it like pops up at time intervals. Like I'll write it down. Lists live everywhere. It's just part of life.
Yeah.
Keeps me organized.
All right. So everyone wants to know, have you always been this jacked, or is there a secret? I watched you do a 185-pound thruster the other day. That was nuts.
Oh, gosh. That surprised me, too. I'm not going to lie. Have I always been this strong? No. When I was, 12, my mom described me as a lollipop on a toothpick. Like I just had this big round head, and I was just like skinny little rail bean kid.
Yeah.
And I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky in the fact that I was exposed to weight rooms and strength work and conditioning in my teens when I was 12 years old. From then on was when it really started. And so I am the byproduct of a lot of years of hard work, whether it was through like sport specific training when I played volleyball or soccer. I feel very grateful that my parents like took that time to invest in that for not only me, but for my brothers too. But all through college, played volleyball. I mean, if you were a student athlete, you probably had to wake up at 6 a.m. to go work out before you had to go to class. And then I just kind of fell into fitness immediately after graduating because it was all I knew. And so it's been years. I mean, I'm 30, I'll be 35 in July. So it's been decades, quite literally, of just work in some shape or form. And so, it's cool though, because like I'm still getting stronger.
Yeah.
Like I didn't hit a 300-pound deadlift until I was here with y'all that one day, like just chilling in the gym. I didn't hit a 200-pound plus clean until I was here. You know, I didn't qualify for quarterfinals for the CrossFit Games until I was here. And so there's a lot of work that has come before that, but it isn't the end of that work, you know? And so it's been a lot of hours have been spent in some shape or form.
Yeah. That's really cool to like just see you reflect on that and like see that like the work isn't done yet, and like PRs do still come in. And like as someone who, you know, comparatively is like pretty new to the world of like functional fitness and weightlifting and all these things, like it can be hard to like be on that journey and hit your first plateau, which I think a lot of people or even members of the gym could relate to that. And I think they've recently had some PRs with like new programming and things, but it can be hard to like just start. You know, you do Ox 100, you're feeling great, you're lifting all these weights, and like every week it's like a 10-pound PR.
Absolutely.
Naturally, your body is going to hit a point where you have to work a little bit harder. You have to start paying attention to those small habits. You have to start habit stacking on top of just pretty much eating okay and coming to the gym every other day. Like there's got to be a little something more. So yeah, it's just cool to see other people's journeys and kind of be fueled by that and just get excited by the challenge and the growth that could take place instead of like thinking that the end is just imminent. Like
the end is
I'm going to stop getting strong. I've only got 2 good years and then I'll like
and then I'm done.
Probably have a kid and I'm never going to like lift heavy again.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not fucking true.
It's not true. Like Murphy, my daughter, is 5 and this is the strongest I've been in my life, like 10 times out of 10, 100 times. And it's just so cool to see, like, and that's when it gets so fun, I think, for me. Like when, especially for someone who's new to functional fitness, like, and you do all the things that you're talking about, like you do the Ox 100, you feel great. Like when that plateau comes, like it's so easy to get frustrated by it, but take it as an opportunity to like get in the weeds of yourself, like get in the weeds of like your habits, what you're doing, what is working, what isn't working. Like start pulling on levers and turning dials to see what will continue to move the needle for you. Plateaus are incredibly normal. They're honestly supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Your body's going to adapt, but like scratch an itch. Like, well, how am I sleeping? Well, like, what else is going on? Like, did I just move? Or like, did I start a new job? Like, what are all these things? And so, like, that's the cool part that comes. Like, and I think for me, navigating a lot of plateaus that I've just naturally experienced over the years of my time working out, it really wasn't until probably last like 3 or 4 years where I was like, oh, like, let's look at some of the other stuff that I've been doing besides like just going to the gym all the time. And it wasn't until I really started doing that and then putting in the work intentionally in those outside variables that like things really started to change and grow and like continue to evolve. Like, so get in the weeds with yourself.
Yeah.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Get in the weeds with yourself.
Get in the weeds with yourself.
But yeah, I think it's so true. And it's, you know, it's okay to like have big goals for yourself, even if they're scary. And like, I have really big goals for myself that scare me in a good way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think if anyone is interested in, you know, taking on those big challenges, you want to get really strong. You want to, like you said, get into the weeds, do that extra work. Like, you need some one-on-one nutrition coaching. You need someone to help guide you with those habits and how you stack them throughout your day. You want to do extra training sessions. Like, all of those things can happen for you, and like, there are opportunities for people to do that here.
Yeah.
You know, definitely Ox 100 with Caitlin is a great step. I am going to start taking on, you know, personal athletes to coach them like through that journey alongside me, because I'm doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, just learning how to fuel and how to live and just be really goal oriented and doing what you got to do to get big out here.
Yeah.
It's hard for a lady, man.
Hey, man, it's, like putting on like strength and putting on mass as a woman is hard, not only in like the actual physiological sense, but we've been fed as women so much trash about what our bodies should look like and what our bodies should and should not do. And I remember being like 15 years old and I was like, I think I really like this working out thing.
Yeah.
But then like that internal dialogue of like, well, like, I don't want to be bulky. I don't want to be huge. Like, I don't want to be muscular. And I'm like, by 15, like, I was a naturally pretty muscular kid. But like the work that you have to do, that we have to do as women, especially if you want to get stronger, if you want to get fitter in the gym, if you have like a sport that you want to continue to excel at, what am I trying to say here? The shift that your brain has to go through. Not only are you adjusting food and nutrition, but like you have to look at your body in a new way. Like,
and it's a battle, and it's okay.
Oh my God,
like,
I still struggle with it.
It's okay to fail at that too, because I was like, just the other day, I was like, I was making a joke, but it was kind of true. I was looking at pictures of myself from like 2 years ago, and I was objectively like a lot smaller, and I was like, ugh, those were the good years. Like, I was so like cute and hot. But it's just like, and it's okay to like fall into that, because like you've been raised to think that that is what's best. And I mean, if that's your goal, that's fine. But I just remember that time period, and like, I was in that moment, the thing I wanted most was to like lift the heaviest weight possible.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got to get stronger. I've got to get stronger. And now, like, being on that journey, and, you know, here I am 20 pounds later, also lifting a lot heavier. I'm still looking at myself being like, oh, I should probably adjust my macros and go on a cut soon. And it's like, no, like, what are your goals? And it's like, you've got to really just continue to push forward, and if that is what you want, but it's okay for it to be hard.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I texted Caitlin like a month ago, just like, should I stop doing this so I can like have a leaner physique? Like, should I stop doing X? And she's like, no.
Yeah.
No. Like,
Yeah.
one word, period, end of sentence. And I think I have that moment with myself once a week, multiple times a week, where I'm just like, I wish my stomach was a little flatter.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I was a little leaner. I wish I didn't feel like I was like yoking out of my like tank tops when I'm like going to brunch or something like that. But like, I'm strong as shit.
Yeah.
You know what happens when you're strong as shit? Like, not only are you able to do really cool things and express your fitness in a really fun and joyful way, but the years that it adds to your life.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, my dad will see a video of me, like, doing power cleans or back squats or whatever it is. And he's like, are your knees going to be okay? I'm like, my knees are going to be okay, Dad, because I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be 80 years old. Like, my goal, what I always think about is I want to be 80 years old and be able to run around with Murphy, my daughter, and her kids. Like, I want to be able to live in the fullest way possible for as long as possible. And that comes with being strong, and that comes with like dialing in your habits and finding out what works with you, whether that's nutrition, sleep, how you manage your stress, the people and community that you involve yourself with. That's what so much of this life that you and I live is about. And that's what it's about for me. And like, I'm not here to be frail and falling down and can't getting up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's not it. And
No.
you avoid it by being strong. And maybe your body will change in a way that is different, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Like,
no, and I just look like one thing we did to kind of reflect on 2023 at the beginning of the year was like, you know, go through your camera roll or just kind of a calendar or just your memories or some type of like record of your year, whatever that looks like for you, and picking out like what the happiest moments were. And like, just like all of my most joyful, happiest moments, like I was sweaty and gross and I was in a triathlon onesie, or I was like sunburnt with my friends, you know, like none of these things are tied to
what you look like,
or maybe they are, and that's okay. But at least for me, like doing that really just helped me like ingrain like why I do what I do. And I want to copy and paste those moments for years to come. And for me, that looks like getting stronger, being the best that I can be from a performance and like mental health standpoint, which everybody's different, and my body's getting jacked.
No, you
not strong. As big as I want to be, but
you strong though.
We're getting there.
Heck yeah. And I think that's a good thing for everyone to do. I mean, it's April, so we're coming up on the end of Q1 of 2024. Like, go on your phone, or if you have some other way of like keeping, I mean, we all take photos, you know, go back from January to now, January 2024 to April 2024. Pick out the things that make you happy. Like, where are the moments in the first 4 months of the year that have brought you joy, and how can you replicate that in Q2 and Q3 and
or
Q4?
The opposite. Maybe the past 3 months you were like, well, fuck that up. I did not like that at all.
Like, that sucked.
And that's okay, because it's a new day. We can reevaluate. We can reassess what you need to do, what your goals are. And it can be something as small as like, I don't like doing that level when I come to the gym. Great, we'll do something else. Or it can be, you know, something even bigger, like who knows. But just treating everything as just a new opportunity to get closer to the person you want to be, the habits you need to have to reach your goals. And
you can't do that without collecting a little bit of data.
Yeah.
Like, if we just fumble around and not really taking time to evaluate at certain points, like, it's hard to make changes. And so whatever that looks like for you, whether you need to evaluate the things that went well, or you need to evaluate the things that didn't go well, or what brought you joy, what didn't, like, take a minute, take stock. It might be a little bit uncomfortable, or it might be very validating, but it's important to do, because otherwise it's harder to take progressive steps forward.
Yeah. You gotta get in the weeds with yourself. That's gonna be the title of this episode. I was gonna tat it on
my forehead.
That's gonna be the title.
In the weeds with Whit.
In the weeds with Whit. Yeah, if you need to really just get in the weeds and dig around in there and figure out what's going on,
pop the hood, baby.
DM Whitney.
Honestly, though,
she'll get down there with you.
Yeah, some of y'all have like slid in my DMs with just like questions about stuff, just like about anything, about movement patterns, about life, about whatever it is. Hit up my DMs at my Coach Whitney. I'm there all the time.
There you go. Yeah. Give her a follow.
Give me a follow.
All right. Well, that was a solid half hour. I liked that.
That flew.
That was good.
I like
All right, episode 29.
29?
29?
29?
In the weeds with Whit.
Let's do it.